We had a pretty large bang associated with the caution warning now. Okay, as we have an apparent serious oxygen leak.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we've had a problem. He's in a roll and he can't stop it. Performing an evasive maneuver. Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here. I think we need to do a little more all-weather testing.
Welcome to space.
Hello, listener, and welcome to Failure to Launch, the space history podcast where we take you through every mistake, failure, and explosion that made modern space exploration possible. We are your hosts, Quinn, he, him.
Chris, he, him.
I'm Dan, he, him.
And a relaxed Chris, he, him.
And today, we are going to be talking about the cosmology according to Alex Jones. So, Dan Friesen is a host of the Knowledge Fight podcast, where he and co-host Jordan track and analyze the day-to-day activity of conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. In doing their show, they have become the unquestioned world experts on Alex, up to the point that they contributed to the defamation suit against him for his lies against the Sandy Hook parents. Dan, thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's a treat. I love being able to share whatever this dumb expertise I've gathered is, but however it's applicable.
Any way that it can be made useful.
Yeah, because otherwise I did it for nothing. Otherwise I've watched his dumb show for nothing.
Well, I mean, I think the court case, like contributing to that, like a pretty big contribution, like real world impact there.
I think that we were, we contributed in whatever way it was possible, but that may be a little overstated. I think they probably would have been fine without us, but it was,
But no, any help nailing him to the floor.
Yeah,
Spectacular.
the Avengers assembled or whatever.
Now, this isn't exactly a space history topic, but on this show we have talked about space conspiracy theories before.
Yeah, I've bled through my nose for that a few times.
How these conspiracy theories form, how government policy can encourage or discourage them, and the real-world effects that they have on modern space exploration. And as part of that, we thought it would be useful to take a look at one of the most virulent and long-running conspiracy theorists of our time, Alex Emmerich Jones. And of course, if we're talking about Alex, we figured it'd be best to bring on an expert. And as far as sourcing, normally in an episode at this point, I would list off whatever books I've read or used for this episode. However, I did most of my research, quote unquote, through listening to Knowledge Fight episodes. As always, all links will be down in the show notes, and I would highly recommend listeners check them out.
That's not quite as scholarly of a reference, but it'll do.
Yeah. No, normally, I try and keep to the prime literature. I guess at this point, like the info is getting to Alex and then getting to you and then getting to me and then getting to the audience. So it's filtered down a little bit.
Yeah, we're not proving anything here, though. We're talking about a guy who has stupid ideas.
Yes. Yeah.
And so
someone who has melted their brain just more than a little bit.
Yeah, he's melted his brain. I've microwaved it a little bit.
And mine has sous vide'd through your show.
Yeah.
And now, listener, you get to, get tingled by it, I guess. If we're diffusing Alex's insanity through show after show after show.
You get a homeopathic dose.
Listener, start a
Let
podcast.
the tingling begin.
Let the tingling begin.
So I guess to start us off, I've got a section here for how Alex's beliefs kind of dovetail with classic conspiracy theories, at least the space kind.
Mm-hmm.
So this is stuff like your moon hoax or like lost cosmonauts, Area 51. I guess this is, in Knowledge Fight terms, this is kind of more of your Carrie Cassidy territory.
That might be, some of that stuff might be too simple for her.
That's also fair.
This is the territory where you're talking about more like stuff that your uncle might believe. Like kind of the old time, we didn't actually land on the moon.
This is the stuff that like r/conspiracy is trying to get back to instead of like the Trump stuff kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Like a more respectable.
Yeah. So I guess my question for you then is, does Alex or has he ever supported some of those more like classic space conspiracy theories?
I think he generally didn't. I think that it's a contrarianness that he's had, or at least early on. So, like, people would say we didn't land on the moon, and he'd be like, we did, but also the footage is fake because they couldn't have recorded the footage on the moon. So we did go to the moon, but we couldn't prove it. And so we, like Kubrick, filmed all that stuff on a soundstage in order to demoralize the Soviet Union. So he would have his own spin on a lot of like those kinds of hoax conspiracies, but they were more grounded than like some of the more fun stuff.
Do you think that's like partially that he can't be a follower with these conspiracy theories, that he needs to have his own spin on it, his own, like, I figured it out?
He has to be his own trailblazer in a way.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a big part of it. And then I think also, like, the audience that he'd cultivated early on was, like, very into pretending that they had the facts.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, there's documents. There's, like, the PNAC document and what is that? I don't know. All these other fucking documents that he has that everything is built on. The why can't I now? It's actually bothering me that I can't come up
with the war game one.
No, the thing that Bay of Pigs is based on. Wow, I'm just drawing a total blank and I'm embarrassed. But
no worries.
That's what the audience is supposed to be, like, super into. So you're not going to find documentation of, like, a lot of these more fun things.
Okay.
Like, there's no documentation that we didn't land on the moon. So, he has to cater to an audience that wants something that feels more grounded, at least in the late 90s. And some of the other people were more into, like, alien shit and, like a David Icke.
Yeah.
Those types of people were the people that Alex presented himself, like, in opposition to. I'm the alternative to this.
If you don't mind me asking, then, like, what is his opposition to the kind of alien crowd? Like, does he think they're a distraction? Does he think they're just not serious enough? Like, what in his mind sets himself apart from them?
I think he thinks that, like, the real problems, or at least I'm speaking for, like, early in his career, like, the real problems are the globalists and the central bank and the Federal Reserve. These are the problems that exist in the world. And you talking about aliens is not getting us anywhere near touching those things. So, like, I think it was his take on it early on, especially, would be more that it's a distraction. And the globalists could use that distraction to stop you from auditing the Fed or whatever real thing you wanted to do.
I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this, but, like, nowadays, like, that definitely seems like Alex in, like, the early aughts kind of period. Nowadays, I don't know if he's necessarily gotten into, like, space alien stuff, but he does seem to be tying in a lot of the kind of older alien kind of stuff by just saying it's devils.
Sure.
Like, it's literal demons.
Yup. It's all the same, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, aliens are just interdimensional beings, and we don't need to define any of that. It's just all, they can rip through portals and show up in Tucker Carlson's bedroom. It's fine.
I love how we're, like, so well acquainted with his material now
that none of us flinched.
Interdimensional demonic vampires is just too normal.
Yeah.
I hate whatever role I've had in more popularizing those ideas, or, like, that people are aware of.
I have used the acronym LCD, literal Christian devil, more times than I would care to admit.
Wow.
Just as, like, it comes up often enough.
LCD sound system.
Yeah.
Don't you remember when one of those vampires just hit the button on the console that made Mitch McConnell stop, like, functioning for 4 seconds? That was crazy.
Just stopped animating him for a little bit.
That was just a flex of globalist power, Chris. You too, when you're 103, might collapse suddenly one day, and that's just
103. Come on, it's gonna be at like 80.
That's just the extent of their reach, Chris. They have control over you.
Yeah, the problem was he just wasn't plumping enough. He just didn't have McConnell didn't have enough bags of blood in him. That was the real issue.
The one problem I always have with conspiracy theories is that I love sci-fi, I love world building and whatnot, and, like, the world building conspiracy theories are always just, like, such badly written stories.
Yeah.
Like, they're unimaginative, they don't have cool twists, they don't have cool characters. whenever I hear stuff like that, I want to know what the controls inside of a Democrat politician's brain look like for a demon. Is it easy to learn? Do you have to start with like a backbencher and work your way up? Like there have to be problems. There have to be tech issues inside the possession.
Yeah, definitely. There would have to be an elaborate infrastructure of demon technicians.
And when a leftist confronts Alex and goes blah, demon noises in his face, like, is that a technical issue? Is that part of something they're supposed, like, do they have standing orders?
Well, that's a feature. That's intended.
you get one outburst per week.
I think unlimited. I think the demons, especially to Alex, I think that the demon hierarchy have just been like, it's game on with him. Like, if you show up and go, blah, I'm a demon, to someone like you or I, maybe we would be like, people might listen if we said we ran into a demon.
So Alex is their freebie.
Yeah, its credibility is so shot that, like, you could do 100 demon attacks on him a day and no one would listen.
Oh, dude, I wish Alex Jones were just living in the Truman Show, that, like, all around the world, no one is demon possessed except for all of his friends and family. Everyone he interacts with at the InfoWars studio is demons. They're just Truman showing him.
It's a big old demon prank.
What, Alex Jones is going to become the first ever targeted individual?
How indebted can we make one man? Metaphysically, legally.
If the world is just a simulation, then, there's infinite possibilities. So that world does exist somewhere. Yeah. But the thing that you're talking about, like, it being the conspiracies being unimaginative, and I find that my complaint is that when you're doing world building and you're being creative, you can do whatever you want as long as you follow the rules that you set.
Yeah.
There needs to be, like, okay, if vampires can go outside, then you can't break that rule. That's the rule. I'll accept it for the sake of this fiction, and this story that you're telling me. And the problem with people like Alex especially is that there's just no continuity. He makes rules and then breaks them, and it makes everything just so stupid. You're listening to it and you're like, well, I want these demons need to matter. And so they need to act in ways that are definable. There are rules to how these demons operate. Because, like, why wouldn't they have just taken over his whole crew? They could, right?
The individual demons are foot soldiers in the literal Christian devil's plan. Like, they are individuals working, like, they're in a hierarchy. They've got jobs to do. And that, yeah, and just like, I do wonder, though, like, if that's a self-preservation thing with conspiracy theories, because I guarantee you, like, if he did try and set down, like, hard rules to follow and, like, have his lore document, his lore Bible that he has to follow, like, he would trip over that instantly.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that is, like, why our show continues, is because it is just, like, sort of laying down his lore. And it does just become confusing.
Yeah. Whereas I guess we saw something like QAnon, at least the official account posting QAnon, once 2020, once the election rolls around, kind of, it's gone. You can't really keep playing this game anymore. But Alex seems to have the freedom to kind of roll with the punches, even if, as you've said multiple times on the show, like, he really should be in opposition. That's where he plays best.
Yeah, I think he's just such a crazy person that, and like, there's a natural entertainingness to him that, like, a Q post doesn't have. I don't know, and people like to see someone lose their shit, and he does that a lot.
I did want to come back with a space question. You mentioned before that, like, Alex, as a confrontationalist, may have said stuff like, "Oh, we did go to the moon, but it was filmed by Stanley Kubrick because they couldn't film it on site." Alex is, I don't know about friends with, but he somewhat regularly has Vivian Kubrick on, Stanley Kubrick's daughter, who is also a very big conservative and a Trump booster. And a lot of these conspiracies revolve around Stanley Kubrick being the one who, like, I guess my question is, has he ever brought any of that up to Vivian whenever she's on? Because she has, rather famously, she's against the idea that Stanley was involved in any of these conspiracies.
Yeah, Alex dances around it very lightly when she's been in studio. He will imply heavily when she's not around.
Oh, okay.
And then it gets a little bit like, I know your dad has said some things. He I don't think he would be able to rely on her to come through and be like, my dad did it.
Right.
So he knows to be like, walk on the eggshells, walk on the thin ice.
So whenever she's not around to contradict him, he's willing to at least kind of like, I think he mentioned stuff about Stanley Kubrick doing like remote viewings.
Yep, definitely. And then I think that he tried to say that when she was around, and I think if I recall correctly, she was a little bit like, well, hold on, let's pump the brakes on.
All right,
on some of this.
So yeah, he knew from then on to keep it away from her, like during the interviews.
Yeah. I mean, he'll do that a lot with people. Like he'll say pretty regularly, like, someone told me, X, Y, or Z privately, and then that person will show up on the show, and they will not go anywhere near the topic. And if it does come up, it'll be very uncomfortable. Like, clearly Alex was making something up.
I guess something for me with that was, for the longest time, Alex saying Tucker got attacked by a demon.
Yeah.
But then
Tucker said he did.
Yeah, we got proven wrong on that one. Oh no, or maybe Tucker didn't believe it at the time, and then a couple months later,
and then it just
he got
became
himself
very convenient for him to do so because he got let go by Fox, and now needs to signal boost his own bullshit.
Yeah, there's a lot of possible motivations.
Do you think he got attacked by the demon in his stupid fake workshop?
Oh shit.
Oh.
I like the idea that the oh shit was not that he's faking a demon, it's that he has a fake shop. He has a fake wood shop.
I love that idea of, like, it's trying to do poltergeist stuff. It's trying to throw the tools around, and the demon is very quickly realizing that all of these tools are wooden and nailed to the wall. They're not actually real. Come on, it's a hammer.
And there's those little kid plastic saw.
Yeah, it throws a knife at him, but it's just foam, so it bounces off.
The demon itself has been fooled by the fake workshop.
I'm just saying that, like, if it's like a woodworking workshop and there's not a speck of sawdust in sight, like, are you really doing anything in there? Like,
just the sawdust is actually the main ingredient in his non-woke chaw. So it actually, all the sawdust goes to the chewing tobacco.
See, here's the thing. If I were a demon, I'd be putting a demon in every single, like, off-brand Zinn pouch that he makes.
Whoa. Do you think that demons can possess chaw?
I don't see what like organic product, like what is meat?
But it's dead. It's not alive anymore.
But I mean, like, the essence of demon is suffused in the product.
Or,
I mean,
are we just talking volume?
We have to put the structure here, right?
If you put a demon in it,
we'd have to put the structure here. How does possession work?
Does it require consciousness?
Because, like, objects can be cursed because they're possessed by demons. So therefore, objects can be possessed, which means your food can be possessed, and that's how you ingest the demon. It gets inside of you. But it being inside of you, does that mean that it's in your soul?
Yeah,
or not? Or
does
is it
that
in,
mean
like,
that
your
it's
biological?
possessing you, or does it just pass through?
It's not very clear how this is supposed to work.
Jesus
like, the
Christ.
writers did not do a very good job
this
of
live
explaining how
world-building
this
section.
works.
Oh, I was just gonna say, we have to differentiate between, like, is a curse the same thing as a possession? Like, if you curse an object, does that mean there's a demon living in there, or is there just like a stink?
Yeah, like just a kind of after effect upon it, kind of thing. Now I wanted to take a look at Alex's view of space history, because like, specifically with space stuff, and this jumps out whenever I'm listening to Knowledge Fight, because I know about space history, so I know when Alex is very definitively lying. But I'm sure it happens with all kinds of history all the time. Basically, Alex seems to have a very weird and very wrong idea of history, especially in, like, the 1900s. Thinking that the globalists set off World War I, thinking that Hitler was accidentally tricked into World War II. And at least on the space side, he seems to think that a lot more has happened in space than it actually has. For example, he seems to think that, like, dozens of countries have active nuclear weapons in orbit, like, right now.
Yep.
Could you expand on that a bit?
Well, we're talking about world building, and you're talking about the rules, and if you lay down the rules, then you can be held to, like, oh wait, hold on, you've contradicted yourself. What are you talking about? So I think you'd find it very difficult to get Alex to lay down, like, what is in space,
right?
Like, if you were to demand that, but when it feels right, yeah, every country's got nukes up there. Everybody does. We got colonies. Who knows? I don't know. Who cares? The globalists, they know everything. They've got technology that's 1,000 years beyond what we can even imagine. And they use soul for energy source. We don't even need fuel.
It's Schrodinger's history. Like anything can have happened or not happened depending on whether Alex needs it that minute.
Yeah, you could say that like there aren't a bunch of countries that have nukes in space, and you would probably have a lot of information to back up your claim and, discuss, whatever weaponization has happened in space. And Alex would just be like, nope, it's all secret. They got all secret stuff.
Yep.
It's all secret stuff.
It's all secret stuff, except I have the white papers that I stole from
except they put it in Northwoods.
Because my uncle told me about something when I was 10, and then I talked to a weirdo later.
He bought us.
I didn't have it written down, but has Dr. Jones, smartest boy in Texas, built a laser when he was a child.
Talking to Alex's dad.
Yeah,
here.
he has to have done some space stuff, right?
No, he was more subterranean, I think. Like he was in a cave of some sort doing dentistry on people.
What?
I think he was lured towards space stuff. Like I think he was, if I recall, he was told that some of that stuff was like an entry into NASA, but he got out of it before he would have gotten to space.
He got some hints that it was bad stuff working for the globalists.
Yeah.
I guess according to Alex, they wheeled a laser to his house on a truck and got him to work on it.
Yeah, in a bunch of little pieces or something. There's the very last Starfighter-ish kind of vibes of, can this boy fix this thing?
He's the chosen one.
Can this lone dentist in bumfuck nowhere, Texas, fix our top secret laser technology?
Now we got to get him into the program in the biology department at the University of Texas and trick him into killing off the population. Oh, wait, he said no.
Damn
Shit. We gave him all our plans.
I told you to get some blackmail on this kid.
I hope his son isn't a total asshole.
I hope his son isn't picked by God.
Shut.
Why did we go for what an amateur mistake? We didn't have Compromat on him. What are we thinking?
So I do love then that like this same rule goes across all conspiracy theories ever, that the I guess also like dovetailing a lot with fascist thinking, where the enemy has to be both incredibly powerful and incredibly stupid. They have to be so powerful that they can set up the Sandy Hook shooting and make it look real, but they have to be so stupid that they put the wrong kid on camera who's supposed to be dead or something. And just like, I don't know. I take weird comfort in the fact that same rule is apparently true all through Alex's life, all through his dad's life, that it is eternal, that it works on, like, the devil works the exact same way as the globalists, as the CIA.
Yeah.
Everyone has to make these stupid mistakes. Yeah,
because otherwise, how would you ever even think you could defeat them? Like, if the devil wasn't an idiot in Alex's conception, then how could you beat the devil? It's the devil. It's not even human. You can't beat a spiritual force.
At the same time, though, like, from doing this show, like space programs are often viewed as like the best and the brightest. All of these people working together, like very well documented, all these good designs, all this funding behind it. I am not saying this to give any kind of fairness or credence to what anything Alex Jones says, but I do think it is somewhat realistic that like a conspiracy could fuck up in a small and stupid way that has huge and catastrophic problems.
Sure.
I just don't think that it would fuck up in the way that Alex Jones and only Alex Jones could find the thread.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I think that, the best and the brightest working on something, can fuck up. It's definitely true. But I think you have to look at things slightly differently when there's supernatural stuff involved.
Yeah.
Like, if there's prophecy and magic, then these conspiracies should not be as dumb as they are.
Just the holy, divinely, I don't know, like, recognized bloodline of Alex Jones, that his dad was the most important person in the world before him, that the smartest boy in Texas's son would be picked by God, and that his uncle
his uncle was deep in Iran-Contra.
Yeah, not any of the bad stuff, though.
Well, I mean, it really depends. I think that, his family was allegedly involved in, like, Andrew Jackson's plans and stuff, so you could argue that's bad. But his family, they started the stock market and created Texas, and so, like, yeah, he's got that blood. He's got that good blood.
And coming back to Alex's kind of weird view of history, something that I've noticed, and I think that you've talked about on the show, is that a lot of the time Alex will use his fucked up and wrong idea of history as a way of deflecting from current news.
Mm-hmm.
So specifically, last year, 2024, Russia launched a satellite. The Russian military launched a satellite that was suspected of being nuclear powered, either nuclear armed, nuclear powered. Basically, it's emitting some weird radiation. And that would be a huge escalation in terms of space militarization, something that has not happened.
I'm going to take an aside here to mention, I remember specifically where I was when this was in vogue, because my car's windshield had a little crack in it from, I don't know, like 10 months
Russian
prior
space debris?
from a truck. A truck kicked up a little pebble and put a crack in my windshield, and then winter rolled around, and then that crack split all the way across my windshield, so I had to get my windshield replaced. So I was at what the hell is
you went to a mechanic or like
the ones that specialize in doing just the windshields.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't remember what it was. I'd have to pull up the map, which I'm not going to spend the time to do. But I was there, and they had Fox News on talking about scary new Russian nuclear satellite. I'm like, dog, we've been doing this stuff since the 80s. Like, this is nothing new. There's nothing groundbreaking about having a nuclear weapon be in space.
Okay,
you know,
okay.
Do you know how ICBMs work? They go through space.
No, that's
like we've been doing this for 40 years.
Stop taking Alex's side in the middle of a question that I am trying to ask. Because the whole point is that no, nuclear weapons have not been stationed in orbit yet until potentially this happened. And Alex's whole response, like, it seemed like Alex's response to tell people why bad things happening now is okay is because they've been happening forever. The reason why Golden Dome with Trump is okay now is because, China and Russia have had their own Golden Domes for centuries, bro.
Why can't we?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but the why can't we is reserved. Like, if it were a country that Alex didn't support, who was doing it, then it wouldn't have the same, like, the narrative wouldn't work exactly the same. Like
if China announced that they were going to do something like this instead of secretly in Alex's head having one for 10 years.
Yeah. If the news cycle was about China doing that instead of it being Russia, then his angle on it would be different. But people would respond negatively to, Russia launching this satellite. And so the deflectionary angle is, who cares? This is all big deal.
It's a drop in the bucket. There's dozens up there.
Yeah.
There's so much fissile material already up there. What's a little bit more? Come on.
Cosmos satellites raining down day after day.
Yeah, he does that kind of stuff a lot to get things off the hook and to minimize whatever news is going on. But yeah, I also I don't know. My take on it is, like, I feel woefully uninformed on space because I kind of think there's nothing going on. Am I wrong?
There's a fair amount going on. It's kind of picking up, but like at the same time, it's not as like we're going to be on Mars in 2 years as some people, especially like a lot of kind of SpaceX boosters, tend to kind of push it.
Do you think that we will be in a larger stretch of time, more years off?
Longer term, yeah. I don't think there is anything preventing us from going to other planets. Hopefully for exploration first instead of like space race stuff.
Sure.
Which is kind of the weird situation now where we see booster development, like SpaceX making progress in the States, other companies coming up. China, a lot of Chinese companies are starting up like this year. And there doesn't seem to be a lot of science for the stuff for them to actually launch. So we've got all of these bigger and more advanced boosters. And meanwhile, the actual like scientists are getting all their money slashed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, what are we going to launch? It's probably going to be like mining and propaganda stuff or weapons, it turns out.
Yeah, that feels right.
Yeah, just about, yeah.
It feels of the times right now.
And again, listeners, I am also no expert on this. I'm a parachute guy. I'm sure there are people who disagree with that or who have a more nuanced view, listening.
I got nothing against the idea of going to space.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it would be, there's an optimism that comes. I was watching the Fantastic Four movie the other day, and it very much evokes those feelings of how in the 60s people felt like they were coming together.
Yeah.
To that like space brought people together in a way.
One giant step for mankind kind of thing. Like it's all of us together.
I feel like that's definitely not how it feels now.
No.
It feels like,
I don't know. I guess like a lot of people within the space industry are very happy to be seeing a lot more going on, because before, the job market's horrible. No one can do cool work. And I think a lot of space industry people, a lot of kids coming up through school, they want to work on cool stuff. They want to work on like satellite stuff in orbit. But there is, this kind of growing sense of like, hey, maybe we're not doing this for the right reasons anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Your options are, building like telecom satellites. It's not as much for the exploration anymore. But I do want to use that as an opportunity to talk about and ask some questions about Alex's kind of like his space utopia as he sees it. Specifically, in the last year or so, Alex has started talking about space more, I think, and mostly in the context of Elon Musk and SpaceX. In your opinion, how much of this space talk about making Elon Musk the king of space is just about supporting a political ally versus like, what does he genuinely believe is humanity's future?
Man, I don't know. I can't ever answer anything like on the realm of like, what does he actually believe? Because everything is tinged with bullshit.
That's fair.
So like, I wouldn't pretend to know what's down at the deepest levels of his soul. But I think that over the course of time, as his proximity to power has gotten closer and closer, things have to get more and more abstract. Whoever the villain is has to become more abstract, because all the people that you wanted to be in positions of power now are there, and shit still sucks. You didn't solve any of the problems you were pretending you're going to solve, so now we got demons. Everything's got to be demons.
So obviously your enemy has to be stronger and far
more metaphysical.
Yes.
More impossible to kill, to your point with demons.
Yeah, and like I think the distance between Alex in like the late 90s and actual government is about the same as it is from him now to demons. Like he was very disconnected. It was a very large abstraction for him to even think about someone like him being in the presidency. And I think that with the space stuff that goes along with that. Like this is a lot of it. You got to talk about it a little bit more, because you have to push things into a more
kind of like grand scale.
Yeah. And I think part of it is supporting Musk. Sure. I think that goes hand in hand, definitely. But another part is like when he went on Rogan and just started talking shit about a lot of this stuff, I think he got a big boost of people who were like, oh, this guy knows some stuff. This guy's blowing my mind.
I mean, sort of I think, in hand with going on Rogan.
Yeah, that is that.
Yeah,
that's reaping the crop of Rogan right there. Like that's
we can hate it, but it's effective.
They were designed from their thousands of hours of listening to Rogan to be susceptible to this,
to having their mind blown by every single guest that he has on, and to then get farmed out. And I do wonder, like, I want to meet the Rogan fan that became a fan of every single one of his guests, like someone who did have his mind blown in every single sequential Rogan episode and is now a fan of every single podcaster, comedian, and conspiracy theorist.
They own all of the books and merchandise. Like,
yeah, I think it's a real tough guest list. I've just scrolled through it in the past, and I'm like, ooh, this was a bad booking. Ooh, bad booking.
Trying to think. I know he had like a fairly open neo-Nazi on like a couple of months ago. I'm wondering if Owen Benjamin's been on. I don't know if he's been on recently, but he definitely was before. Oh, okay. Possibly, like, I wonder if that's before the Big Bear era, but
I think so. I mean, it was probably around in the like when the intellectual dark web still thought he was an acceptable person to hang out with. But yeah, there's a lot of shitheads. Alex is but one of them, and yeah, I think that this is what sucks. I think that there's a combination between going on Rogan, seeing an increase in interest in people liking it, and then also like he was deep in the booze at that point, and so he would get drunk and want to tell you about the mysteries of the universe and shit. And so I think that led a lot of his content towards that direction. And it's still there now, but he's not drunk, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's not as fun.
I think you kind of summed it up very well at the end there, because that's exactly, if I'm trying to think of like, if I did all of the things I did when I'm drunk, but I did them sober, they would be significantly less fun to do, and they would probably be significantly less fun to watch.
Yeah. I can't, like, I think back on like, back when I used to drink a lot, I would be wasted yelling at my roommate about like a music video and like, oh, there's a little thing in this music video. You got to pay attention to this. It's really deep. This is great.
Minute and 11. Watch this. What you missed it. Scroll back.
Just turning into the teacher from The Incredibles for a bit.
But if I'm doing that sober, it's deeply sad and everyone hates me.
It's actually the inverse with Alex, I think, is that if he was doing that sober, people would enjoy it more. But I don't think he can get to that place.
Okay.
He needs that conduit.
To tap in.
Hello, listener, and welcome to the mid-reel ad. If you enjoy Failure to Launch, more bad space history, and you want to hear more of it more often, there is an option, the FTL Patreon. Signing up at any tier gets you access to monthly bonus episodes and Q&As, and joining an elevated tier gets you even more content, like Chris-narrated minisodes. If that sounds good, you can sign up at www.patreon.com/failure to launch. And now, back to the episode. So, multiple times I have heard Alex say that, like, God's plan involves humans going out and colonizing the stars, that, like, we need to be interplanetary. And at the same time, he has also said multiple times that, like, he views going into space as an opportunity for everyone to kind of go off and do their own thing. I think at one point he even proposed the idea of, like, ethnoplanets, where if all the leftists want to go off and do their LGBTP whatever, they can have a planet for that, and we're going to have white people planet.
I wouldn't be too surprised.
And I guess, like, in your experience, I know there's never going to be a specific answer, but like through picking up bits and pieces here and there, like, what do you think is Alex's final vision of an interplanetary human society?
Dune.
Okay.
I don't know, like
Christian Dune.
Me and Jordan talk a bit about how, like, a lot of the old sci-fi that Alex is clearly inspired by, a lot of it comes from a time where, like, every planet is just uniform. You know, like, everybody on a planet, it's just all the same. This is that planet. This is that planet.
The monobiome, monoculture science fiction world.
Yeah, or the classic Star Trek planet where some people wear their hats on the left side and some wear them on the right, and they've had multiple genocides against each other.
And even, gets like Star Wars has, suffers from the same thing of just sort of uniformity among planets. So I wouldn't be too surprised if part of his vision was like, yeah, all right, all the people I don't like, you go over there, you're on that planet, we'll just avoid that. That'll be Mos Eisley or whatever. But I don't know. You say like his vision of God's plan is that we have to go interplanetary, but like that's true. But I don't really know what he means, because I think that part of it is like, okay, we'll go colonize other planets. Great. That's concrete enough. But then there's like, we have to go do battle with the demons. And like, there's an implication that maybe there are aliens up there that we've got to fight.
Right.
Or something. And like, that is God's plan, is we have to get ourselves to the point where we're able to fight those demons in space.
So God is cultivating humanity to be soldiers. Presumably, and like you're saying, like the demons are on another plane, like they're interdimensional. But then if we need to colonize space and build a navy and whatnot, that implies that they're on some level. Maybe God pops us up there, or maybe there's something on our plane that we can shoot at.
There might be even if they are interdimensional and all that shit, maybe they do have a home planet.
That's fair.
That we could attack. Or maybe we go up to, maybe once how like some abilities in video games are gated behind like level ups.
Okay.
Maybe you have to unlock your fourth planet.
You have to get through the tech
and then
tree.
you can travel through dimensions.
So once we become advanced enough as a culture technologically, like once Americana rules the stars,
Then we'll unlock the latent psychic abilities that we need to blast them back to their own dimension.
I was just going to say,
that Alex currently has.
Once everybody evolves to match Alex's current psychic powers, once everybody wakes up at exactly the same time every morning without an alarm clock,
their eyes just roll back into their head for a split second.
Then we will be ready to ascend to fight at God's side against the interdimensional alien demons.
It does feel like that might be a part of it. But I'm not sure.
God only knows in that time what Alex's psychic abilities will have evolved to, because he's going to be the Emperor from 40K at that point.
He'll be like the head of the hive mind. You know, ironically, he's so scared of a one world government, but you know, we unlock all these latent psychic powers, and you know, we'll all be one brain.
Everyone would subsume themselves into the hive mind, but Alex's mind would, of course, be so strong that the hive mind would just be Alex, but kind of in stereo.
His brain supplements insulate him.
Ooh, that could be. He's building up the wall, the hedge of protection. I think a hive mind would be fine if Alex's hive mind was just like getting drunk and listening to country music.
And wondering
like,
if
that's what he wants to impose on me, fine.
Really into drink driving and finding out which of your friends has the best thigh
drunk
meat.
Driving into hell on a Starliner,
listening to Willie Nelson. All right,
you know,
you do not want to be a part of a gestalt with me.
I think obviously that there's a there's a somewhat like functional real world version of like what Alex's need to go interplanetary is, and that is that he on some level has to understand that his political ideology is like exploiting all the resources on this planet and making it unlivable.
Right.
So like the way that he wants the world to be organized and operate, it does create like a need to leave. So I think, you know, obviously there's a spiritual weird part of it, but then there's also just a practical, like eventually we're going to blow this shit up. Like this is going to be unlivable at some point.
This is fully unsustainable in the long run. We are going to have to find new asteroids or planets to mine and exploit.
And I'm able to pretend that like, or at least I can not support things that seek to make the world more sustainable if the end goal is actually to leave the planet and to get off of it. Right. Then we don't have to care about conservation.
What's that movie? I think it's a Blomkamp movie where all of the rich people move to a space station. Elysium. Has Alex talked about Elysium? Because what he wants is Elysium.
Oh yeah, no, he's talked about Elysium a lot.
Does he think it's predicted? I may just be blanking on that.
It's the globalists' plan.
It's his plan, though.
Yeah, but it's the globalist plan.
I love the idea that
he's buddying up with Elon Musk, and he's claiming that the globalists want to go off world. I guess now it's more the globalists want to live in bunkers.
Well, Elon's gonna share.
Yeah, you know.
Elon's gonna be the guy who's like Matt Damon, you know, sending all the ships back down.
He's gonna be the one who leads the downtrodden to Mars.
Yes,
he's gonna fuck up the space ring enough that we have to go to Mars.
The most rich and powerful man on Earth. Like, he's just going to be nice to us. The single point of failure in our entire plan for salvation hinges on one guy's ability to not be like selfish, and it's going to be like
to understand empathy.
He'll do it. No, he's our guy. He won't be corrupted by the power and influence that he wields. It
continually blows me away, Alex's ability to like somewhat correctly point out flaws in the scare quotes elite, and then to pick out the most elite people on the planet and say, no, these are the good ones. These are the exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of just baked into his, you know, he always has like had like reasonable analysis of some things.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of the stuff that he says about like he blames on the globalists, it's kind of just the problems with the way that the capitalist structure operates. You know, like he's not totally making all of the shit up. He knows
to start with a tiny kernel of truth and then build bullshit around it. Maybe not like or maybe not like starting with truth, but at least knowing to kind of sprinkle in a little bit of realism here and there.
Being close enough to truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we everyone knows that something is wrong in the way that things are organized. Something's wrong with the way that resources are distributed. And, if you come up with a fun explanation for why, then you don't have to look at other possible explanations for why.
Or in the mirror.
Yeah. So I think that he's always had that dynamic with a number of things that he does.
So I do have one more question here, and this is my last official written down question, but I'm hoping we can get a decent amount of discussion from this. And that is that you guys used to do episodes on Carrie Cassidy, or specifically her show Project Camelot, and you would do these as occasional kind of breaks from the Alex Jones content. Carrie Cassidy is someone who, like you said earlier, has kind of gone beyond the traditional vanilla UFO stuff. So that being the Greys, the Dracos, the Anunnaki. She has kind of built out her own world building. So stuff like raptor princesses, the feline Contessa, mercantile dogs, spider leadership, all of that good Patreon tier naming.
Yeah, she's had a lot of people who've told her a lot of things.
Yes. So my question then is, what is your favorite part of the Carrie Cassidy extended universe? And that can be either stuff that guests have genuinely told her or stuff that guests have maybe fed her, like Daniel Jordan.
Yeah, I want to say, I guess, that I don't know if I have a favorite part anymore, because we don't do those episodes anymore because it feels weird. It started to feel bad. I guess when we started the show, our podcast, I didn't want to subject Jordan to just Alex all the time.
Right.
And there were some fun YouTube videos that I'd seen that I thought would be interesting and, about raptors and stuff. And at the time, she had a considerably larger audience than we did, and it didn't feel kind of ugly. And now it feels a little bit ugly. And it also is a bummer because it is not as much of an escape as you want it to be. You want it to be oh, we're just talking about raptors and crazy space stuff. But as Trump became more popular and as the 2020 election came and, onward, it's a lot of that stuff is just an overlap.
Yeah.
A lot of it became aliens espousing QAnon beliefs. And, JFK Jr. is going to tell us about aliens and it's going to reveal.
And you
mean
raptors within
Carrie
Cassidy's programming, she started working more of that in to her day to day.
Yeah, it felt like the connection was much stronger to the point where it wasn't a break.
Oh, okay.
Hearing a psychic talk was no longer well, let's listen to this psychic. The psychic's going to tell you something about the election being stolen. And it's I can get that on Alex's show. This isn't interesting.
Yeah, you're just listening to the exact same news being covered first by Alex in his the globalists, and I've figured it out through all of my methods of deduction, and then over to Carrie Cassidy, who's going to tell you the same thing, except it came to her in a vision.
Yeah,
and it's a situation of course they're going to say that because that's what they want to believe.
And that's that's what okay, if you want a favorite thing about it, it was that it felt different initially, and then my least favorite thing is that it wasn't different eventually.
Initially it had that sauce to it, but then it just immediately fired out.
Do you think that those really deep in the conspiracy Area 51 aliens type people want aliens to be real because they want to fuck them?
Interesting. I mean,
you keep bringing up the Harkness test every single episode we do.
Do you think that, because I'm thinking about, and again, Quinn, I'm sorry, I'm a very lonely person.
Dang.
But it's because I think about it, it's this I feel like this really went into vogue in the 70s and 80s, and the 70s and 80s are known for a lot of things, including the general horniness and drug use. So
no, Greys look like mannequins. There's no there,
but also Star Trek. Captain Kirk was fucking around with alien ladies, right? So I mean,
there has to be the level of investment for me to be a guy in the 70s who is now in 2025 who still holds the same core belief system that the government is hiding aliens from us is
But then you also get into the stuff where one of the even among the classic UFO beliefs is that one of the races is I think it's the Pleiadians are just really tall Aryan white folk.
Yeah.
And like every other alien, they look like giant lizards. They look like gray mannequins. And then we've just got like, the ideal Hitler Youth.
Yeah, that wouldn't be much different a sexual experience than just having sex with a tall person, with a Pleiadian.
That's fair, yeah.
I think some of it there may be some sublimated sexual desire. There may be, but also some of it's got to be like superpowers.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of aliens are able to do, telekinesis or whatever.
Chris, I can see it in your eyes that you are immediately thinking of how that telekinesis could be used sexually.
Stop, please. Stop.
I'm telling you, like it's all like, it's like a sexual somatic thing for them. Like it's
if you had telekinesis, you wouldn't have to sit on your hand to give yourself
but
a stranger,
what does that mean about Alex and the demons, though? If we've set up that the aliens and the demons,
I just think that a lot of this could go back to being like, God, I'm extrapolating conspiracy now. Like it's like how much of this goes back to like, so how like the way that our media today is structured is because of boomers, right? The way that movies are built and the like having sex scenes and everything is because like horny old men exist, right? Like that's the power structure that keeps this going.
Yeah, that's an influence in it. Yeah,
it's like why you get advertisements for like old cars and like this nostalgia baiting for fucking 70-year-olds, right? Like this is how things used to be. Remember this? You can still get it up.
Are you saying like that alien conspiracies will change based on the generation that they are targeted against, and that we're going to see like?
You're being very sensible about my analysis, but yeah, maybe that's one of the points I'm trying to make. But my point is that like I think that it has to do with the boomer clade and their like incessant need for like patriarchal nostalgia. Like,
to be fair, I'm just saying like extrapolating.
You can't
from
trust me though because I'm insane. So like,
and I'm also needing clarification because I'm starting to think maybe you want to fuck an alien. Do you want to fuck an alien?
Absolutely. I'm like one of the world's biggest xenophiles, of course.
Oh God.
Okay. What about Alf? You want to fuck Alf?
Not really.
Okay.
So
you have standards.
I have standards.
Fails at the first hurdle.
Okay, so what we're doing here is we're bracketing.
But extrapolating from that, I am now curious about how like conspiracies.
We should do smash or pass aliens.
No,
but stop, please.
No, to kind of extrapolate back a little bit before stuff got kind of weirder. That does now have me thinking about how like conspiracies are definitely aimed at age brackets, like generations. Do you have a sense of how old the average or median InfoWars fan is, and like what is bringing new people in versus keeping the old people on?
Well, I think one of the only ways that I can really get a sense of listenership and their demographics and stuff is by who calls in, which is a very unreliable. But I think the people who call in, for sure, a lot of them are pretty old. And then the other set seems pretty young. And so I think that there's not much of the in-between. People who have like a lot of their life settled, maybe people who are really curious and young and getting about like questioning things, like going down a path. And then people who are just like 80 and maybe don't know that Twitter exists.
The demographic being the people who are cemented in their beliefs and the people who are too young and gullible to have cemented beliefs.
Okay, so
I think largely,
massive simplification, but the people who have been fans of him for the past 30 years and the people who got into him because Rogan.
Yeah, and I think that the first set that you're talking about, people who have been into him for a long time, is a fairly like concrete and not like it's not as fluid. But those Rogan fans and all the like the younger people, that is unreliable. Yeah. Like those people come and go. They'll just like get into it. They
think he's funny. They see some funny clips. They sit down to watch him and they realize, oh, this is boring as shit.
And then Alex isn't talking about how Labubu is Pazuzu, and then they go back to TikTok. So like,
yeah, and to what y'all are saying too, like it's generational. They'll realize like this shit isn't for my generation. This is stupid. This is for old people. This is for people who have a strong opinion about Joseph McCarthy. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Other weird thought that I didn't have time to elaborate on before from the previous chat is I wonder if Alex's wife has ever just as a joke, or his kids or anyone in his immediate family has as a joke just gone like, demon at him, just in the house, just apropos of nothing, just to freak him out a little bit.
Oh, guaranteed when he's drunk enough that his eyeballs are floating, they've done it to him. I refuse to believe they haven't.
I think there's two possibilities. I think that if he's totally full of shit, then yes, they have done it because they're around him and they know that he's not going to stab them. If he does actually believe in demons and is as much of a angry, domestically violent person as we know him to be, I think maybe they wouldn't want to risk it.
He may just decide like, oh, my loved one is gone.
Yeah, the demon's coming from within the house. Stabby stab.
Okay, fair point. Fair point.
But I think that I would assume that his family knows that he doesn't actually think people just get possessed by demons or like randomly. So I bet they do it to fuck with him. Because what would you do if you were like 13 and this was your dad?
Yeah. Jesus Christ, like growing up, like other kids in school probably know that that's your dad. I
think that's why you homeschool.
Yeah. Oh, fair.
I think that's a big part of why you homeschool. You don't want them accidentally meeting someone cool.
You don't want them meeting a demon.
That's true too. A cool demon.
Also, we can talk about it or not. I think we kind of glazed over a little bit. Or
my talking about glazing and Alex Jones.
Yeah, talking about him and Sybil having never really talked.
Oh, okay. That is a fair point. Have you ever heard of a man named Bart Cybrell?
He's the guy who John Glenn punched.
Yeah, Buzz Aldrin decked him.
Buzz Aldrin, excuse me.
He's kind of the famous moon hoaxer.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest moon hoaxers, and notably someone who has been a friend of Joe Rogan's and kind of involved in that podcast, guested multiple times, including a couple of months ago. There's not really a question with this, but I guess that's kind of like, this is someone who is much more tied in with the classical vanilla space conspiracy kind of stuff. So like somewhat David Icke-ish. To tie that in, like why, like nowadays Alex has kind of made nice with David Icke, or maybe he hasn't because Icke doesn't like Musk.
Yeah, he did, and then it fell apart.
Weirdly, because Icke was the more principled one, but
yeah, because he thought that Elon Musk was stupid and the right wing was falling for his bullshit.
I'm having a thought again. One of my extrapolated thought processes of like, I love how much of it boils down to like, which billionaire factionalism does this person fall under? Like,
yeah, or which billionaire do they primarily oppose, like in some way, or who are they willing to be opposed to? But also, getting back to what we were talking about earlier, David Icke got a divorce from his wife because she was a shape-shifting lizard person.
Oh, shit.
And so he did like to have sex with shape-shifting aliens at one point.
You got to keep it spicy and fresh. I
do wonder what the delta between finding out that she was an evil shape-shifting alien was and the divorce being filed. Like, did they try and make it work for like 3 months?
Yeah, they went to counseling.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, they saw somebody. Yeah. Unfortunately, the counselor was her shape-shifted, and
oh shit.
Like, this isn't related to the space stuff. This is more just while we have you here. I do wonder about the kind of person. Do you know the audience members that can sit down and listen to Alex say either very obviously wrong things or hear him say something completely different on Monday that he said on like for the Friday before, and have both of those be true within their head, or just have the new overwrite the old without question?
A lot of it's probably the new just overwrites the old, but then also I think he's trained the audience more or less to be like, if I ever need to contradict myself, you can just say that I was being taken out of context before.
Oh, okay.
I was just wargaming, or I was just talking about like possibilities. So like he's built in his own like
trapdoors,
self-defense mechanism for listeners. But I also think that a lot of people, like, no one is really listening. Like
maybe they're driving somewhere, they got it going in the background.
Yeah, I think there's more of a vibe that he is able to communicate that people pick up on than them sitting there with a notepad and being like, wait, what the fuck did you just
comparing
say?
yesterday's notes to today's. Like, wait, that doesn't actually line up. This guy.
It's a system of relying on them only paying attention when there's specific keywords and phrases that they want to hear.
Yeah, or resisting their own instinct to ask a follow-up question or think second implications of things. Like recently he was talking in relation to the Epstein stuff and Trump's behavior around it. He was saying that people he knew got calls from the FBI telling them to stop covering this. And he's not treating that like a horrible violation of the First Amendment.
Like if this was the Biden administration, he'd be losing his fucking mind over
or
it. Or
Mr. Police State suddenly coming out on the side of the cops.
Yeah, you have a guy who's like, I love the First Amendment. It's the most important thing ever. Oh, journalists are being told by the FBI to shut up about a story. What are you going to do?
Maybe. What are you going to do? You can't deny. I think that again, like his core belief system, I feel like is structured around authoritarianism. Like it's going back to one of the beginning conversations we had. I was thinking about this, but I didn't want to interrupt. It's just like, I don't know, look at Russia and China, and if they do a thing, you know, it could possibly be bad until it's not, and it's don't worry about it. Yeah, it was the nuclear satellite thing we were talking about. It's like they could do a thing and it would be bad, but we also kind of want to do it, so therefore we can't play that as it's a bad thing because we want to be able to do that too, sort of thing. It's an appeal to, I think, like an authoritarian government structure, because that's ultimately what he wants to have.
I would agree with that generally. I think whether or not it's understood by himself, even, right. I'm not totally sure.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. I listen to a lot of it, and it does not make sense.
After so many years, it has still not yet made sense. And on that uplifting note,
don't try and find an answer to the question, because there isn't one. There's nothing in space, or everything's in space. I don't know.
I think that is a good place to call it. Dan, again, thank you so much for coming on this show. Is there anything you would like to plug to our listeners?
The podcast is there, but I would advise people not to listen to it. Listen to it if you want. I don't know. There's 1,000 episodes of us talking about Alex Jones. If that sounds good to you,
go to the don't listen to the recent stuff. Go to the library, pick a keyword that interests you, and hit search, and then listen to one of those.
Yeah.
So listener, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Adios.
Bye. Demon. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you to everyone who has signed up to support the show, and a big shout out to all of our top tier patrons. Our cyborg cats are Boss, Katiga Reptile, Charlie, Comrade Sleepy Bro, Daniel F, Emily K, Jesslyn T, Jorg 2, the Swordfish of Damocles, Kamo, Lane of the Wired, Matt, Mobius Striptease, Mysterious Stranger, Nerd Beast, Noah, Number Negative, Boiled Drum, Pat, Paul C, Source Force, Space Northpaw, Spectre Cohen, Tortilla Baron, Vivek D, and Wingsmith. Our space dogs are a Union Thug, AB, Akiogo, Guy is Best Guy, Agent Carter, Angie, Angry Old Man, Yada Yada, Anthony C, Atomic Hobbit, Otto Fox, Baron M, Bat Bay, Ben L, Boomzilla, Brian L, Caleb, Cantaloupe Was Taken, Chainsaw Snuggling, Charles G, Cole C, Captain Lag, CSD 2016, Daddy Bongo, Daniel, Double Time, Dr. Shockmaster, Hank, Aaron, Eric J, Fractal Moonlight, Furious Luddite, Grant K, Heiko S, Howl's Moving Pictures by Rush, Ian R, Ian W, James C, Jamie K, Jarl Breadmaker, Jerry M, Jedediah D, John Brown Jovi, John C, Jonathan G, Jonathan W, Johntastic 20x6, Juan, Carathago, Delenda S, Kate B, Kate D, Corbin the Dog, Lens White, Little Beefy Boy, Lorgath, McLean C, Mar, Martho, Maritza, Moomin Instrumentality Project, Narrow Ebb, New Name, Nicholas S,
Nick, Norman W., Northeast Driver, Outlook Cove, Panda, PB, Poop Butt, Randall, Rayto B, Sailor of Fortune, Sam A, Scott K, Sean H, Sensual Kazoo, Sean P, Smut R Us, Sophie L, Sparks, Spirit of Thunder, Swanee, The Best Sean, Tom M, Tim P, Toasty Ken, Trash Do, Therosh T, Vix Cappy, Risk, Will W, William O, Zachary B, Zap, Zim, and Zombie Dwarf. Albert Count, 146. Thank you for listening to another episode of Failure to Launch. If you want to follow us, we are Failure to Launch on Blue Sky and FT Launch Pod on Instagram. We also post our episodes with visual aids at Failure to Launch Podcast on YouTube. FTL intro and outro themes were provided by DJ Danarchy.